Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Reverend Sean Robert Grant, and this is Heart of Christ Ministry. Yes, on this lovely Tuesday, few days before Christmas. Hope your holidays have been enjoyable up to this point. Mine have just had family in, and they were amazing, and all that stuff. Life is really good. So, with that being said, today we have, as always, a special message, a special episode dealing with our new focus, mental health awareness, coming to you now in 2022 for sure. Okay. And what I'm going to do something a little bit different today, as opposed to bullet pointed. I'm going to just allow whatever wants to come through from the divine to come through. And we're going to talk about it, but we'll really get into helping people with their mental health and all that great stuff. But before we do, got a few things here for you. We're going to start with, if there is anything, any questions about anything that you want to get insight on or get feedback from, please, by all means, write to us at seang04@gmail.com, and we will get back to you as soon as we can, especially during the holidays. You know, a lot of times counsel is all you really need to feel better about yourself and about your situation, because at the end of the day, guess what? It's all you anyway, right? So with that being said, write to us. Use that to your advantage, okay? And from there, I'm like, I hadn't done this in a while. From there, if you feel like this ministry has helped you, if you feel like you have benefited at some point in time throughout the course of, its existence over the past 2 years, feel free to donate from a place of love, a place of peace. And it'll definitely create an impact, because we're getting ready to move into a place where we're expanding, and every little bit helps. So if you have it in your heart, you feel it in your heart to donate, feel free to do so. We appreciate you. Venmo, Heart of Christ Ministry, PayPal, SeanG04@gmail.com. Zelle is the exact same as PayPal. So if we need to, we can set that up. Not a problem at all. And then when you do give, I'm going to still do this to the end of the year, maybe into next year. I'm not sure. We're going to give you the Endless Prosperity Pack. So a gift, any gift that you offer, any gift of donation that you offer to Heart of Christ Ministry, the Endless Prosperity Pack will be yours. That is 5 videos that take you from zero to financial freedom. And it's really, really insightful. It takes a turn or an angle on money that not very many people do, but it ensures that you're able to produce whatever you need in your life. And it just helps you to grasp a greater spiritual understanding, right? So with any gift you give, the Endless Prosperity Pack will be yours. I'll reiterate this when we go again at the end of this video. But for now, let's pop into what we got happening. Okay, Heart of Christ Ministry 2021, mental health really matters, right? And you might be wondering, okay, you're teaching about mental health. Why are you wearing a cowboy hat? Well, because I want to be a cowboy. And I got my jacket too as well. Anywho, mental health. And so, like I said, this has become such a dynamic passion of mine, because it affects everybody. It affects everybody in every single way, no matter where you are, no matter what job you're doing, no matter what part of the world you're in. Mental health is important to cultivate on a daily basis. Why? Because when we don't, then we begin to move into mental illness. Okay. Now, here's something that is so interesting as an update for Adobe pops up. I don't know why, but there we go. So here's something that's really, really interesting that, we have to really be mindful of. And that thing is, let me just hold on. There you go. My computer's doing some craziness. The thing we have to be mindful of is that, much like brushing our teeth, much like exercise, much like washing our clothes, taking showers, it is so very important. It's so significant. It is an integral part of our overall health to ensure that just like when we brush our teeth, just like when we take a bath, just like when we wash the car, just like when we take care of anything else, wash the clothes, whatever it may be, we have to take care of our minds the exact same way, right? And so when we understand that is just as important, we become more aware, right, of doing things that allow us to love ourselves in an unconditional capacity, right? Because that's what it comes down to. And that's more spiritual than mental. But you know what? You start with the mental, and then the spiritual kind of meets you halfway with what you're doing from a mental standpoint, okay? Not to get too far out, but it's important to understand that stuff needs to be cultivated. It needs to be manicured. You know, you got to take the weeds out, pull the roots up. You have to understand, is my mind my best friend, my greatest ally, or is my mind my worst enemy attempting to get me into a place that doesn't make me feel good? So that comes with monitoring what type of thoughts am I having? What type of place am I in mentally, right? And so it can be difficult, especially, you know, we're in the holiday season. And so in this holiday season, you know, there's a lot of things sometimes to get upset about that can easily lead you to being upset. Like, you know, noticed in the past, you know, for me, it was the whole issue of money. Like, I would get upset because I didn't have the money to feel like I could do what I needed to do. I could buy gifts for this one or that one. I just didn't have it. So what happens is you give your mind the message of, okay, you're lacking. And then the mind just says, all right, here we go. And it shows you everywhere in your life where you're lacking. And then that's when we can kind of fall into a deeper funk that can also lead to depression. But see, one of the most important keys to mental health is, what can I focus on right now? Okay. What can I focus on right now that enables me to see the good in my life? Okay. And this is before we start spiraling, right, into a depression, into a funk, into anxiety, into, you know, I mean, it's crazy to say this, but eventually suicide, right? Because that's what happens. See, when we understand the mind's job is to keep us safe at all times, the personality, I like to call it, as opposed to the ego now, its objective is to keep us safe, right? And sometimes if we allow it to, safe means ending our life, right? It means, okay, we're safe if we don't have to deal with this. But you can prevent that from happening. You can prevent that from happening if you nip it in the bud right now and you start to identify, just kind of observe your thoughts, right? What I recommend, you know, to a lot of folks is just meditate. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to meditate like the Dalai Lama right away, but meditate just by sitting still. And you know what happens when you let thoughts just kind of go until they stop? You find that you have all the peace that you need within yourself, right? But a lot of times we never stop, right? So a thought comes up that we don't like. What do? We find stuff to do so we don't have to sit with it. We overwork ourselves. We try to pile, you know, things on top of it, as opposed to see, okay, what is this thought really trying to tell me, and how can it be a benefit to my mental health? And so that in itself, right? That in itself opens the door. Because see, ultimately, and this is spiritual, everything is just reflecting us, right? So if a thought comes up repetitively and it's trying to, well, if it comes up repetitively, it's attempting to tell me something about myself, right? And it may be the idea that maybe I'm holding on to emotions that I need to release. So on Facebook this morning, I talked about journaling, right? It's important that we have a journal to write down everything that we're feeling whenever we have the time to. I try and journal every single morning. Why? Because you can go to bed at night and all of a sudden experience some of the craziest thoughts possible, right? And just not even know what the hell's going on. And so you got to write that stuff down as far as what you're feeling. And the moment you write it down, you feel so much better, right? Another way of doing this is just moving your body, like jump out of bed, do some jumping jacks, right? Go take a walk, right? Walking does this it floods the brain with, I believe, the hormone is serotonin, and it relaxes it to the place where all of a sudden the brainwave activity slows down and you're not just bombarded by thoughts that you feel like are going to make you lose your mind, right? So there's steps. There's steps to doing that. There's steps to really understanding, what can we do for ourselves to cultivate a strong mental health, right? And so what I'm going to do right now that I've been doing for the last 11 minutes, I just want to get right down to the divine wisdom that wants to come through in the sense of what is it that we need to know most importantly about mental health right here, right now. And I'm just going to say an intention, say a prayer real quick, and we're going to move into it. You ready? Dear God, in me, supreme infinite intelligence in my subconscious mind, reveal to me according to divine truth, what is the most important aspect, the most important divine truth that we should know right now as it relates to mental health. Okay, you ready for this? Mental health is in our hands, right? Mental illness was never supposed to be something that allowed us to get into a place to where we feel like we never can come back from it. It's in our hands because, first and foremost, we have been given dominion over our minds, over our bodies, which means when we make up our minds about something, we can direct our body, our hearts, our spirits, whatever it is, to carry out what our mind is thinking. This comes in the form of writing. This comes in the form of speaking. This comes in the form of video. You decide. You are the deciding factor, and it comes exactly from the place of what are you putting inside, right? And so I feel like that's coming through because what can happen a lot of times is that we expose ourselves to stuff that can really jack us up mentally. Okay. And I mean, you already know the first one is the news, right? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. How many people suffer from mental issues because of the news? Because all they're doing, like when there's really so this new COVID variant, Omicron or something like that, it's in the infancy stage, but all of a sudden the news blows it out of proportion, like it's wiping out half of the world, and immediately millions upon hundreds of millions of people go into a state of fear. And I'm going to tell you this, Lord knows, when fear has got you, if you don't know how to neutralize it, fear will cripple your ability to have a strong mental health. It'll cripple your ability to be aware of understanding, okay, is this true? Or is this something that's fabricated? And you know how you can tell when something's true and when it's not? If it resonates with you, if you get whenever something resonates with me, I get goosebumps. That's how my body is trained to let me know, to let me be aware if something is on point. I get goosebumps, right? And I feel a sense of peace. When I know that something is kind of iffy, I don't have any feeling whatsoever. It's usually just blah, right? And so whatever is given to me, right? So this is in a sense of, if you're not ready to give up watching the news, which I don't think you have to, but I think you have to really filter out the stuff that you're given, because it's contributing to the state of a lot of people's mental health, right? But anyway, you know, you've got to see, okay, is this true? If that takes meditating, if that takes praying, if that takes taking a walk, is this really true? Or is somebody just trying to get me riled up? And I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it because I got to be completely authentic and honest with you. The media has a way of over insinuating things that aren't really real, right? And it gets to the point where it's so ridiculous that you kind of have to take a step back and say, okay, wait a minute. This ain't right, right? Because the thing is, they're not presenting facts. They're presenting an opinion. Okay, I'm going to say this right off the bat again. The news is not presenting facts. They're presenting an opinion. Okay, take you back to the election. You ever notice how some networks will be for the president, some networks will be against the president? News is an opinion, right? We turn on sports. The guy's giving you his opinion or her opinion on what they feel. It's all an opinion. It's not facts. It's not truth. This helps me mentally to understand, okay, I know what he thinks and I know what everybody else thinks, but what do I think? More importantly, what do I feel? Right? What do I feel? And when I get to that place where I can honestly feel what's true for me, guess what? Bam. I know I'm on point because what happens is I feel an enormous level of peace come over me. And that is the key because I'm no longer affected by it. Now, at some point in time, we have to say, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not going to listen to this stuff anymore. I'm not going to turn it on. I'm not going to divulge in their fear mongering and fear tactics. I'm going to stay away from it. Instead, I'm going to read something that uplifts me, right? This goes with television. I really like TV, but you know what I always do? I always watch stuff that, and it's different for everybody, that makes me feel good, that allows me to observe it as an artist, right? From an artistic standpoint, that leaves me going away thinking about, wow, that was very mentally intriguing, which kind of sparks my creativity, right? I watch stuff that supports me, right? Now, in the past, I've been known to watch some things that would just kind of make you, right? Like, I'll be once again 100 with you. The First 48 was a show that I would watch all the time until I realized this don't make me feel good. This just makes me feel like everywhere I go, somebody's going to shoot me or stab me. And then I'll be on TV as the cops take my body away. Like it wasn't making me feel good. And that's the key that the divine is attempting to convey right now. It's in your hands, and your mental health has to be something that is cultivated in a sense of what makes me feel good, what makes me think good thoughts. Well, I can tell you if you're ready, releasing emotions that no longer serve you, right? Now, the older you get and the longer you've had them, it may take some time, but I tell you, it's worth it. That's one of the best things I could have ever done was begin to release some stagnant emotions that weren't serving me anymore, right? So that's one of the ways. Another way to start off, journaling, right? And here's a really dynamic key when it comes to journaling, and not just journaling, but when you're by yourself. Let's say you're in the car driving, and I talk to myself all of the time. In the car is one of the greatest places for me to talk to myself. Most people think I'm on the phone, but I'm actually talking to myself, because I want to have that ability to be as comfortable as possible with who I am. And you know what I do, whether I write it down or I ask out loud, what am I feeling right now? What am I thinking about the most? And just by doing that, I take away the veil and I can see directly, because here's the thing, my mind is neutral. It's not like I'm going to betray you, sucker. No, it's a computerized mechanism that does whatever I tell it to do. But see, the issue is we indirectly Tell it to bring us fear. Tell it to bring us worry. Tell it to bring us, terror, right? When we can say, what am I feeling? What do I have to feel good about? Like that question right there. And that what I just got, I can hear in my inner wisdom. Ask those questions that are empowering, right? Ask the empowering questions. Empowering. That's an interesting word to say with my Southern Louisiana accent. Ask the questions that empower you, not the ones that disempower you, right? So what is that? What does that come down to? Let's say it's the holiday season. You don't have any money. Your family's far away. What do I have to feel happy and to feel good about? What do I have to feel overjoyed about? And here's the thing with the mind. The mind is always going to find something. It might be the fact that you have food in your fridge to eat, or you got shelter, or you got internet. You can listen to me sit here and talk. The mind's going to find something because that's what it does, right? So from a mental health standpoint, we become healthier and healthier when we ask the right questions, right? And one question that comes into mind whenever you feel as if you need to know if something is right for you, ask, how does this serve me? Or better yet, how does this serve my highest good? How does it serve the highest good of others? Right? And those questions, all of a sudden, changes the scope of where you were once going, right? So like I said, I just spent the whole year and a half teaching on money, and it's important because, let's say you're feeling broke or you're feeling impoverished. All you gotta do is ask yourself, why do I feel, or what in my life do I have to feel abundant for? Right? What in my life can I get excited about as it relates to money? It's just, and there's no certain question to ask, but you got to ask the empowering questions because the mind will always answer. That's the beauty of the mind. It's neutral. It'll go negative or go positive, whichever way you choose, whether directly or indirectly, but start choosing directly, right? I used to put them on Post-it notes and on index cards to allow myself to be in a space to where I could ask myself the right questions whenever I felt like I was down or whenever I felt like I needed a pick me up, right? Why is my life so wonderful? Why is everything always working out for me? Why is my mental health so strong and powerful, right? That is a question to ask if you've been suffering. Why is my mental health so strong and powerful? And you'll start getting ideas. You'll start getting, instances that happen around you. Because here's the thing. Mental health really matters. It does. It really matters. And it matters, right? Because without it, we can't enjoy life. We can't put ourselves into a place that allows us to feel strong, safe, capable, and have the ability to live how we want to live, right? So what I feel that I'm receiving is the most important thing of all this is what can you do to serve yourself as it relates to your mental health? And ask yourself that question, and I'm going to leave it off here. What can I do to serve my own mental health? What can I do to serve my own mental health in my highest good? What can I do for myself that cultivates a strong sense of mental health? You see that? Start working on those questions and allowing them to really get your mind going in that direction. And I promise you, this will change. Sometimes it'll change like an explosion right away, change the scope of how you think about things. And sometimes it'll take a little bit of time, but I can tell you what, it's going to pull you out of the abyss of thinking the worst type of thoughts, right? Trust me on that one. With that being said, guys, That wraps up to the speaking in tongues. That wraps up today's message for Mental Health Really Matters. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to contact us at SeanG04@gmail.com. We'll get back to you as soon as we can right away. I love my cowboy hat. Ooh. But if you have anything, especially coming up the holiday season, feel free to let us know. We'll be here for you in any way that we can. And then if you've enjoyed this message, or you enjoyed messages in the past, or you believe in mental health awareness, or you believe in Heart of Christ Ministry, or you're just a damn nice person, feel free to donate. Venmo, Heart of Christ Ministry, PayPal, SeanG04@gmail.com. Zelle is SeanG04@gmail.com as well. Thank you in advance for that. We really appreciate it because, once again, like I said, we're expanding, and it helps when people are able to give from their own resources. So thank you in advance. And when you do give, where are you? There we are. When you do give any gift of any size, no matter what it is, you'll receive the Endless Prosperity Pack. Got a description has an explanation in the description. And what will happen is you'll get 5 videos that take you from zero to financial freedom in the most unique, spiritual, uplifting way possible. Trust me, if you watch these videos and you study them and you take notes and do all that thing, you do all that it says that it instructs you to do, I promise you will experience better feelings around your finances, and you experience better experiences around your finances. I'm tongue-tied, so trying to get it done. But thank you in advance for that. That will be yours with any gift. And with that being said, guys, let me tell you, we are out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. If it is before Christmas, then happy holidays. If it's after Christmas, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Not sure when we'll be back, but I'm sure we'll be back soon. With that being said, guys, thank you so much. Take care. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Every dream begins with a vision that sees everything before anyone else ever can. A vision that ignites the endless power to make all your dreams come true.